Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I will be reading a multi-character listener by me. So let's get into it. Furina. The fact that someone could poison you was scary enough. But it was even worse that she couldn't come up with a proper reason why someone would have the motivation to do this. The moment she found out, that wasn't a thought in her head. But right now as she sat by her bed, her tears drying on her cheeks, she wondered why someone would do such a thing. She found out that he passed out and was called over to you, and she immediately went. She panicked through most of it, but now she sat in silence, and the doctor told her that you would be just fine and just needed a few hours of rest. She wondered why anyone would do this, why someone would poison you. That's not a joke. That's something serious and scary. She thought that only you may have the answers if she couldn't come up with them. But she knew very well that if she couldn't fight with her own sword, then she will drag that fight to court. She will make sure that person pays for this. She was once the Archon of Justice, and she still holds that dear to her heart, for she will make sure justice is brought. She let her hands run through your hair as she looked at your sleeping form, and just a couple hours in, as she began to feel sleepy and tired, sitting beside you for quite a while now, you woke up, and she gave you a soft smile. Mayan, you're fine, thank goodness. I was so worried about you. I'm glad that you're awake now. Please tell me you're not in pain. No, I'm not, Furina. I feel a little bit dizzy though. What happened? She was a little bit worried you forgot most of what happened, so she had to remind you on her own. And as she kissed your cheek, she looked into your eyes. Do you suspect anyone? I'll make sure to find them, and I'll make them pay. You smiled softly at her determination and shook your head. No, I don't suspect anyone. But thank you, Furina. It really means the world to me. You say she will do her best to investigate and find out who it was. But for now, she just wanted to be by your side and hold you and appreciate the fact that you were fine. Lyney. Lyney actually got freaked out when he heard that you were poisoned. He didn't know who did this, but he knew you were at the bar, so he could guess why someone would try to do this. He's a very protective person, so immediately he went over to you, and people could tell that he was freaking out. He was grateful that he had Lynette beside him, as she tried to keep him calm and from doing anything unwise. But the sight of you passed out, and that greenish sickly look on your face, it was terrifying, and he was not ready for it. Thankfully, though, you were recovering and soon you would be awake, but why would anyone do this? Just why? He couldn't understand it. He couldn't try to sympathize with anyone who would hurt you like this. He didn't know why it would happen, and it was terrifying that someone would hurt without remorse. Regardless, he was willing to do his best to make sure that you were not hurt anymore. And so when you woke up, and he was wrapping his arms around you, asleep on the side of your bed, he just smiled softly, pressing a soft kiss to his hand, and immediately you woke up. Lion? Oh, thank God. You're fine. I was so worried about you. Who did this? Do you know anything about them? I'm not sure, but I have my suspicions. I'll tell you who. There was that guy called Charles at the bar, and he was acting weird the entire time. I didn't think much of it, but maybe I should have. It's fine. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything wrong, he says, and you sigh softly, nodding as he wraps his arms around you tightly. He didn't want you blaming yourself, especially when you didn't do anything wrong. And as for that person, he will deal with them and make sure they pay. And he's definitely not going to do it in a very legal way. Xiao. Xiao was raging when he found out about this, and he was going to do anything at that point to make sure he found out and got the revenge that you deserved very well. But as he saw you on the bed, Aizu by your side, he could only just stay there and stand by your side. He couldn't bear the thought of leaving you. You were going through a lot right now, and he was terrified of the idea and the thought that maybe you wouldn't wake up. Though he didn't want to think about it that much. He hoped it would never be the case. For now, anything could wait for later, as he made sure that you were alright. And that person who did this, he will get his rightful revenge from them. When you woke up, the conqueror of demons was still by your side, holding your hand and looking at you like you were the most precious person in the entire world. You're finally awake. I'm glad. I am. I'm awake, Xiao. Thank you. What for? You have nothing to thank me for. Thank you for watching over me and for taking care of me while I was asleep. You say, and he just shakes his head, holding your hand gently. You don't need to thank me. It's the least I could do, he said, and he smiled softly as he wrapped his arms around you. He didn't want to bother you and ask you questions right now. He just wanted to make sure that you were safe. And once you're ready, he would get his answers. For now, he knew how essential rest was for you, and he was not going to push anything. And as you rested your head against him and let out a soft sigh, you just smiled as you felt him hold you close, like you were the most precious thing in the universe.